Hello guys, today we are going to cover data types, variables, types of variables, and we'll understand what is the scope of the variable, lifetime of the variable. These are the concepts we are going to cover today, right? Now we will go one by one. First, sir, what is this data type? Data type is a term. It represents the type of data you are storing in a variable that is going to be represented by the data type. And these data types are classified into two categories: primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Again, these primitive data types are classified into four types: integer, float, character, and boolean. Now, first I'm going to cover the primitive data types, then we will look into this non-primitive data types. So here the first one is integer data type. Sir, what is integer? Very simple definition for integer is a number without decimal point, that is called as a integer. Here, this integer is categorized into four types: byte, short, int, long. These are the four different integer data types. So byte is a data type, which is a smaller integer data type. The memory which is occupied by byte is 1 byte. 1 byte equal to 8 bits. Short, it will occupies 2 bytes. Int, it will occupy 4 bytes. Long, it will occupy 8 bytes. Coming to the range of these data types, they depends upon the size of the data type. So, sir, how to calculate the range of these data types is I'm giving a standard formula. Here we don't have any unsigned. We have it stores only uh, positive values only. The formula is -2 to the power of n minus 1 to +2 to the power of n minus 1 and minus 1. So n, it represents the number of bits, not bytes. It represents the number of bits. I'm going to calculate for one of the data type. Let's say I'm taking byte. As we know, 1 byte. 1 byte equal to 8 bits. So here n is equal to 8. Now -2 to the power of 8 minus 1 to +2 to the power of 8 minus 1 minus 1. That is -2 power 7 to +2 power 7 minus 1. Right? Now 2 power 7 is -128 to +127. This is how we can calculate the range of any data type. Now coming to the float. So what is the definition of float? Float that can be defined in very simple terms, beta. A number with a decimal point that can be called as a float. Here the size of the float data type is 4 bytes and the size of the double data type is 8 bytes. Sir, do we have any other difference apart from these sizes? Of course, we have one more, that is float. It can store 7 digits after the decimal point. After the decimal point, it can store 7 digits, whereas double, it can store 15 digits after the decimal point. This is the difference between the float and double in terms of the storage. Now, coming to the character. This is another data type. Anything which is enclosed in single quotes, then that can be called as a character. That may be alphabet, digit, or special symbol. Anything which is enclosed in single quote, that can be called as a character in our uh, Java. So here, this character, it's not same as C and C++, because in C, it occupies only 1 byte of memory, but in Java, it occupies 2 bytes. That in the sense, it requires a 16 bits of information because Java is a Unicoded programming language, whereas these programming languages are ASCII coded programming languages, American Standard Code Information Interchange, right? Unicode defines its fully international character set that can represent all the characters found in human languages, like uh, this Unicode contains the dozens of character sets such as Latin, Greek, Arabic. These are all the different languages. These language character sets are there in the Unicode. So that is the reason we require the 16 bits of memory storage for the character in Java, right? The range of character is, that is 0 to 65,536, because we don't have any negative part, right? So there are no negative characters, right? This is all about the character data type. And coming to the Boolean, right? This Boolean data type, it can have only one of two possible values, that is either true or false, right? So this type returned by all relational operators. Whenever you are checking a greater than b or a less than b, all the relational operators less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, whenever we are handling with the Boolean relational operators, so it returns the Boolean response, either true or false. For the purpose, we use this Boolean data type. Now, this is all about the primitive data types. So the other part is non-primitive data types. So in Java, these non-primitive data types are the reference data types, or you can call these non-primitive data types as user created data types. All non-primitive data types implemented by using object concept, right? And here every variable of non-primitive data type is an object, and the non-primitive data types may use additional methods to perform certain operations. The default value of all non-primitive data types is null, right? And in detail discussion about these non-primitive data types, we are going to cover in the due course. This is all about the data types which are available in Java. Now coming to the next part, variable. Sir, what is this variable? What is the purpose of this variable? Beta, variable is nothing but it is a basic unit of basic storage unit. You can define it in other terms. Uh, it is a name that is given to a memory location or memory block, right? This is a memory block. To this memory block, if you are giving any name, that name can be called as a variable, or it is a name which is given to a memory address. This is a memory address 1234. To this memory address, if you are giving any name, that can be called as a variable, right? Now, this variable can be defined by the combination of an identifier and its type and the uh, optional initializer. By using these things, we can define the variable. So, sir, how to declare a variable and how to initialize a variable? Here, the type of the variable you need to declare, let's say whether the data type is integer or character or float, and the variable name. So here I am taking int x. Int is the data type and x is the variable name, right? Now, this is called as a declaration, right? Sir, which is best, declaration or initialization? What is initialization? A variable with value, that is called as initialization. A variable without value, that is called as declaration. But always declaration is best compared to the initialization, because you no need to modify the code. If you are taking the initialization, you need to modify the code. So that's what always prefer the declaration compared to the initialization. Now, sir, what are the types of variables? Better, we have three different types of variables in Java: instance variables, class variables. They are also called as a static variables, and we have the local variables. Now we will cover one by one. Yeah, what is this local variable means? Within a function or within a method, if you are declaring any variable, then that variable is called as a local variable. For example, I'm taking a class name is SumX. Within this class, what I'm doing, I'm taking a method, something like ABC method I'm taking. So it is not returning anything. I'm taking void. So within this method, I'm taking integer type of X value as 5. So this variable, we can call it as a local variable, because the variable which is declared within a method, that can be called as a local variable within method, within constructor, or within block. These local variables are created when the method or constructor or block is entered. These variables are destroyed once the controller is exit out of this block. Whenever the controller is exiting out of this block, the variables are going to be destroyed. The variables are going to be created whenever the controller is entering into that block, right? This is how the variable is going to be created and destroyed. So access modifier cannot be used for these local variables. You cannot apply public, private, protected, and default, right? And local variables are visible only within the declared method. Just now we covered, and there is no default value for the local variables. So local variables should be declared, and an initial value should be assigned before you are using for the first time. This is all about the local variable. I will cover the example. I will show you the example on the local variables as well. Now coming to the instance variable. Sir, what is this instance variable means? Beta, here any variable which is declared inside a class and outside of a method, that is called as a instance variable. I'm taking a class X. Within this class X, I'm taking a method that is void something. AB is my method, right? So inside the class, outside the method, if you are taking any variable, then that variable can be called as a instance variable, right? These instance variables are created when the object is created to that class, and these instance variables are destroyed whenever the object is destroyed, right? Access modifiers can be given for these instance variables. The instance variables visible or available for all the methods or constructors or the blocks which are there in the class. And these instance variables have default values. Let's say if you are taking the integer, its default value is 0. So instance variables can be accessed directly by calling the variable name within the class, right? This is all about the instance variables. Now coming to the static variables. Now these static variables, they're also called as the class variables. So class variables are also known as the static variables. These static variables can be declared by using the static keyword. So within a class, I'm taking a static int some x. This x can be called as a static variable. So this can be created within the class and within the constructor and within a block, right? Yeah. There would be only one copy of each class variable per class. But when it comes to the static variable, so same static variable is shared among the different objects. That is the beauty of this static variable. And the static variables are stored in static memory. Static variables are created when program starts and destroyed when program stops. The visibility and default values are same as instance variables. As we discussed, static variables can be accessed by calling with the class name directly. By using class name, you can access the static variables. Now, I will show you the clear difference between the static variables and instance variables. So we will cover the example for local variable, static variable, and instance variable in the next video. Thank you.